amazing, peaceful, happy, wonderful life. It starts with the very roots. Now, as we said, that root could be a single step, it could be a single gesture, it could be a word, it could be something you said, it could be something you chose not to say. And that could lead to devastating, detrimental consequences, which on the Day of Judgment, as we explained, they come up to us and say, or to that person, and they say that you're responsible for this blood. You're going to have to answer for it. A man by the name of there were a group of merchants. They went to visit the holy shrines in Iraq. Now, they were Iranian merchants, and they were considered to be very wealthy, very respectable in society. And one of the things that they did back then, they obviously didn't have banks or safe deposit boxes, so people who had large sums of money would often go to these reliable, wealthy individuals, and they would hand over their life savings or earnings or money or what they had that was of any value so that it would be safeguarded. So this group of merchants sets out from Iran. They go to Iraq and they go visit the center of Shia jurisprudential leadership and guidance, which at the time happened to be the city of Samarra. Along with them, because once again they didn't have any safe, fire-safe boxes back home, they would take along whatever they had, including their own money as well as money that was given to them by other people to be kept safe. When they go, they visit the marja of the time, who was Ayatollah al-Uzma al-Mirza Hassan al-Shirazi, the man famous for the tobacco revolution. At the time he was the supreme leader of the Shia world, so to speak. Nowadays we don't have any such position, any such office held by anyone. It's scattered, and the leadership of the Shia Ummah rests with several leaders as opposed to just one. But obviously back then the community, the Shia community, was a lot smaller than it is today. So they go visit him in the holy city of Samarra, and after they perform the visitation, they tell him that we want to go to Hajj. But we have all this money with us, and we're afraid that if we go to Hajj, we might die, something might happen to us, so we want to keep these safe right here. And he instructs them to leave the money with his own personal aide, assistant, and accountant, who was a man by the name of Al-Hajj Ja'far. He says that this is a reliable man. I've trusted him all my life. He's my own accountant. So give your possessions to him. He'll take care of them. Hajj Ja'far takes the funds, takes the money. They go to Hajj. When they come back, Hajj Ja'far is dead. So they go to the marja, to Mirza Hassan al-Shirazi. They ask him what to do. He says, well, usually whenever he took anything, he made sure that he kept a record of it. He kept a receipt. He wrote it down in his books. And one of the things that he used to do, one of the methods that he used to employ, was to dig up a hole and bury the money and put a sign of some sort over there. And he'd write that in his own records. So they go back, there were 3 of them. They go back to the records. They check them, and they're able to identify the places where their money was held, but only for 2 of those individuals, not the 3. They go, dig up the funds, they're all there. But the 3rd one keeps going through the records, the receipts, asks family members, does whatever he can do, but he wasn't able to find the money that he entrusted with Al-Hajj Ja'far. So he goes back to the marja. He said, listen, I can't go back to my community in Iran without these funds. I mean, the people are going to accuse me of stealing them. First off, it's a large sum of money. Second of all, I just can't go back and tell them, sorry, I lost your money. I'm going to lose, I've got my reputation on the line here. So the marja says to him that there is one thing you can do. Are you willing to do it? He said, sure, whatever. I'm not going back without the money. He said, well, we're here in the city of Samarra. I want you to go down to the city of Najaf in Wadi Salam. And over there, I'll teach you a ritual where you get to communicate with Hajj Ja'far's spirit. Now, we have traditions that tell us that the souls of all good individuals and the faithful and the believers, they all get gathered in Wadi Salam, in the Valley of Peace in the city of Najaf. One tradition states that if you were able to see them, you would see them all sitting down in halaqat. They're just gathered up around one another, sitting down, talking and discussing things and so on. So they're all sitting there, awaiting the Day of Judgment. Al-Mirza Shirazi says to this man, to the merchant, that I can teach you this ritual. You could give it a try and see what happens. He says, anything, I'm desperate. So he goes to the city of Najaf, visits the commander of the faithful, and he performs the ritual. He does it for 3 consecutive days and nights, but nothing happens. It was a series of du'as and supplications that he had to recite. So he goes back to the city of Samarra, empty-handed, nothing at all. He wasn't able to communicate with him. As soon as he tells the marja that I wasn't able to speak to Haji Ja'far, the alim says, that must mean he's not there. And if he's not there, then he's not considered a mu'min or a faithful, or he's got some problem. He's got an obstacle. He hasn't crossed over to that side yet. And I just don't know what that is. Whatever it is, it's very serious, because I knew this man. He was very reliable, very faithful. The whole community knew about him. There was not a speck on his reputation and on his record. But he was obviously very disappointed that he wasn't able to communicate with him at that place. He told him, there is one other option that I can present you with, and that is to go to Hadramaut in Yemen. Hadramaut, we've got some Yemeni friends who have been to Hadramaut, and they say that there's a valley near the city of Hadramaut in Yemen called Wadi Barahut. It's been mentioned in our traditions. Imam Sadiq says that the spirits and the souls of the evildoers are imprisoned in that valley, awaiting their judgment on the day of reckoning. And our Yemeni friends actually tell us that this place is a valley that no one ever goes to. We know about it, we've heard about it, and we know that it's infested with bats. There are lots of bats in there, very rugged mountain terrain, very dark in nature, and we usually stay away from that whole area. So, Al-Mirza Shirazi says to this merchant, that's the only other option that I can give, and it pains me and it hurts me to say that this is an option for you to go and look for Haji Ja'far over there, but this is the only thing I can think of. Are you willing to do it? He said, I'm desperate, I'll do whatever it takes. So he goes along with another man, and obviously they're going from Samarra all the way down to Yemen. Sure enough, he goes there. Now the man who's in his company, he says that we went there, we reached the valley of Barahut on the outskirts of the city of Hadramaut. The man begins to follow the directions and the instructions and perform those rituals. And he says, halfway through the ritual, I suddenly noticed this merchant stand up, scream, and then fall unconscious. He woke up and he said to me, let's run out of this place. Let's go. So we run out and we continue to the journey all the way back to the city of Samarra. The merchant reaches the marja. He says to him, I've got some very bad news. I did what you asked me to do. I saw your man. I saw Haji Ja'far, the so-called reliable, faithful, believing, God-fearing friend of yours. I saw him being held up by these fiery chains. I could see his skin melting on the ground, and he was screaming off the top of his lungs saying, help me, do something about this. Now, in the midst of all this, I managed to ask him about where he'd put my money, and he told me where it is. So they go and they dig up the place and they find the money, sure enough. But this man says that one of the things he told me was that I need your help. I'm being burnt in the fires of hell. Please get my neighbor, who's a butcher, my butcher neighbor, get him to forgive me. And then he was dragged down into the fires of hell again. So the marja says, who is this neighbor? What's happened here? It's a mystery surrounding the whole thing. So he sent someone over to Haji Ja'far's house. They look for a neighbor who was a butcher by profession. They don't find anyone. So they ask around, and it turns out that there was a time when Haji Ja'far used to live somewhere else, and he had indeed a butcher as his neighbor. The marja sends a message to that neighbor that the marja, the supreme leader of the Islamic world, wants to visit you tonight. So obviously that man is extremely excited. He, throws the red carpet treatment for the marja. He cleans the house. He fixes everything. He makes everything ready for a huge banquet with whatever means